The AP Euro document-based question review, and today's topic is evidence. On today's agenda, we'll be discussing the AP exam and the DBQ rubric, the modified evidence point, evidence from the documents, evidence beyond the documents, evidence examples, guidelines, and some supplemental. As a review, our AP Euro exam will be on May 13th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is a modified document-based question scored out of 10 points. You have 45 minutes to write and analyze with 5 minutes to submit afterwards. And today we'll be focusing on using 4 documents to support the argument and using 2 sources outside the documents to support that argument. So this year's AP Euro evidence rubric has been changed. It is now worth 5 out of 10 points. And there are 2 parts to the evidence portion of the rubric, the evidence from the documents and the evidence beyond it. Let's first focus on evidence from the documents, which is rated 3 points out of 5. To earn 1 point, you must use the content of at least 2 documents to address the topic of the prompt. This response must accurately describe rather than simply quote the content from at least 2 of the documents. So you must be specific, and you are not encouraged to quote it, rather to paraphrase what the document says. To earn 2 points, you have to support an argument in response to the prompt using 2 of those documents. This response must use the content of the 2 documents to support the argument in response to the prompt. So not only is it accurately described, it has to be described in a way that supports the document. Basically, it is evidence with a claim. It is proving a point. To earn 3 points, you must support an argument in response to the prompt using at least 4 documents. The response must use the content of those 4 documents to support an argument in response to the prompt. Now let's differentiate between content and argumentation. Quoting a document will not earn you any points, but describing 2 documents accurately will earn you 1 point for content. You're describing the document in a way that shows your understanding of it. However, if you want to earn the maximum 3 points, you have to use the documents in a way that will support your argument through argumentation. So, you will earn 2 points altogether if 2 documents are used, and 3 points is a maximum if 4 documents are used. And these documents must be described in a way along with proving a point. Now let's move on to evidence beyond the documents. To earn 1 point, you must use at least 1 additional piece of the specific historical evidence beyond that is found in a document, which is relevant to an argument about the prompt. This response must describe the evidence and must use more than a phrase or a reference. This additional piece of evidence must be different from the evidence used to earn the point for contextualization. To earn 2 points, you must use a second piece of specific historical evidence beyond that is found in the documents relevant to an argument about the prompt. So this response must describe the evidence and must use more than a phrase or a reference. It has to be different from the evidence used to earn the point for contextualization. Let's move on to some guidelines for outside evidence. Content and argumentation. Specific historical evidence must be accurately described, and it has to be accurate, so you have to know your stuff. And it has to be more than a phrase or a reference, so it has to be specific. So, it has to be relevant to the prompt also, so you need to know your stuff, especially about the time period and stuff relevant to the prompt. Keep in mind this evidence has to be outside from the contextualization evidence. It is more specific usually than the contextualization evidence, to differentiate the 2. Now, let's move on to our example for the video today. Evaluate whether the 30 Years' War was fought primarily for religious or primarily for political reasons. Evidence, but this is evidence that only addresses the topic or content of it, so it only earned 1 point. This is concerning document 6, which is a Richelieu engraving from 1640, which portrays the cardinal protecting France from Huguenot Protestants and rival Catholic powers. In 1640, the 30 Years' War had reached the French phase. The phase was known as one of the bloodiest phases to exist. Jean Jalnier paints Richelieu carefully removing the French Calvinist Huguenots from France. Jalnier paints Catholic Austria and Spain as chained back but vicious. However, this response does describe the document accurately. It does not tie it to an argument. It's not proving a point, leaving it only to earn 1 point. Remember, to earn 1 point, you have to describe 2 documents. Not quote them, describe. Moving on to evidence that supported an argument, this earned full credit. Document 4, this is a letter from Adolphus to Elector Brandenburg in 1630. Adolphus claimed that Swedish intervention is to prevent Catholic Habsburgs from wiping out German Protestantism. The example goes as, however, the war was in fact religiously motivated. In a letter from Gustavus Adolphus to the Elector of Brandenburg, Adolphus declares that the Holy Roman Emperor only wants to root out the Protestant religion. Basically, this response not only describes the document, it also connects it to an argument about the motivations for the 30 Years' War. In the first sentence, it makes a claim. However, the war was in fact religiously motivated. In the second sentence, it goes on to support that with the evidence from the document. And if you do this for 2 documents, it will earn you an additional point. And if you do this for 4 documents, it will earn you an additional 2 points. So you have an opportunity to earn 3 points here. Let's move on to evidence beyond the documents. This has a potential of earning you 1 to 2 points. First, the example goes as, when messengers arrived bearing news that the emperor had lied in a document, the townspeople responded by throwing their messengers out the window in the infamous defenestration of Prague. This example has a discussion of motivations for the war and involves the specific historical evidence of defenestration of Prague not used in contextualization or the documents. The second example reads as, Richelieu was responsible for convincing King Louis to enter the war, seeing it as a way to extend French power. Richelieu's ambitions were successful as the war severely weakened the Holy Roman Empire and cemented France as a dominant European power. So not only does this response provide a piece of evidence not in the documents or contextualization, it's relevant and it addresses the prompt. Remember, for that point, you can earn up to 2 points. If you use 1 piece of specific historical evidence, you will earn 1, and if you use 2, you will earn 2 points. Here are some guidelines for the evidence. Remember, evidence can support multiple arguments. Evidence does not have to be used in support of a single argument, but they can be used across sub-arguments or to address counter-arguments. If you're struggling with using one of the documents and you need to meet the threshold for documents, maybe address a counter-argument and earn that point. Remember, you have to describe the document, not quote it. To earn even 1 point for your evidence must be accurately described, and you will not earn this point if you quote the documents. And lastly, understand your documents. To properly use your documents to form a strong argument, and you have to understand these documents. You should spend about 5 to 10 minutes reading and analyzing these documents before you jump in your essay. And if you have any questions about the documents, make sure to clarify them while you're reading them. Maybe you need to reread them over and over again until you really understand them to really use them as strong evidence in your essay. Now here are some supplementals to use while practicing. Use some past DBQ questions with scoring commentary so you can read what people did right and what people did wrong. Practice your own sample DBQ questions so you can really get a hang of it in that time period too. And receive feedback on your use of evidence in those sample that you wrote. Show them to your teacher or peers so you can really get critique and graded on how well you use your evidence. Here are some references to check out for further information. The 2020 AP History Rubric from the College Board and the 2018 sample DBQ response from the College Board, which was used in today's video. In conclusion, thank you guys for watching. Our next video will be about analysis and reasoning, so good luck, happy studying, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, everyone.